только что сбили самолет, группа минера за Янакиева упал. Сейчас поехали искать и фотографировать сбитый самолет. Дымится.
Сколько минут назад?
Ну, 30 минут назад где-то.
Да, Саш.
Ну что у вас там?
Короче, блин, стопудово гражданский борт.
Понятно. А этот, как, народу много там?
Да пиздец. В обломки прям во дворы падали. Так.
Борт какой?
Да я еще пока не разобрался, потому что я не был возле основной части. Я только вот смотрю там, где начали первые тела падать. Там остатки внутренних кронштейнов, кресла, тела.
Понятно.
Вот так.
Вооружение есть что-нибудь?
Вообще ничего. Гражданские вещи, медицинские ошметки, блин, там полотенце такое, туалетная бумага.
Документы есть?
Да. Индонезийского студента есть из университета Томпсона, блин.
По самолету, сбитым в районе Снежного Тереза.
Ну?
Это оказался пассажирский. Упал в районе Грабова, там море трупов, женщины, дети. Сейчас казаки там смотрят это все дело. По телевизору передают вроде бы как этот, Ан-26 украинский, транспортник. Но, говорят, написано на нем малазийские авиалинии. И что он делал на территории Украины?
Ну, значит, завозили шпионов, не знаю. Понял.
Obviously, one of the first things that comes to mind is, you know, Malaysia Airlines, the Malaysia Airlines flight that everyone now believes went down in the Pacific, in the southern Indian Ocean off the coast of Australia. That received so much attention from around the world. Now it does appear, at least according to reports, that a second Malaysia airline flight has gone down. I want to bring in Mary Schiavo, our aviation expert, on the phone right now. Mary, these reports very limited as of this moment. All we have is the flight, believed from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, the location, believed to be somewhere between Ukraine and Russia, and the number of people on board. Is there anything that you see that jumps out at this point?
Well, yes, the most important thing is that a flight flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur would have been at cruising altitude, which means it would have been up about 32,000 feet. And so for someone to mistake that for a hostile aircraft, you know, between Russia and Ukraine, it would be very, very difficult. It is difficult to see how this could just be a mistake, that they thought it was an enemy aircraft, and so they you know, shot it down. Obviously, at a regularly scheduled flight flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, it can have, you know, it's not the missing plane. I'm sure people thought, you know, their hearts leaped and thought, oh my gosh, is this the missing 777? No, because you're a regularly scheduled aircraft. You know the tail number. You know the airplane has, you know, there's no correlation, at least at this point, with the missing aircraft. But it is, there's just an amazing. You know, it's hard to believe that it would be shot down as an enemy aircraft unless, for some reason, now we come back to the electronic portion of Malaysia Airlines and the way they identify their aircraft, unless for some reason its electronics was swapping the wrong, meaning sending out the wrong code, that it didn't appear to be a civilian commercial scheduled aircraft on somebody, either Russian or Ukraine radar. So that can be the only thing that jumps to my mind about why this plane could have been mistaken for an enemy aircraft, or if it was simply an errant heat-seeking missile. Obviously, it would have gone for the two engines on the 777.
Well, world wars change worlds. And if you have a global agenda, then global problems allow you to offer global solutions. And if you look how the world was transformed by the First World War and the Second World War, the world was a completely different place after both of those wars. And the idea all along has been to have a Third World War to complete the transformation into a global state with a world government and a world army, creating a conflict between the Muslim world and what it called political Zionism. And people will say, well, that's got to be a fact. And he said, well, we don't know about bloody airstrikes because, you know, we might kill civilians. Well, that's never stopped you in the past, mate, has it? Or any of your predecessors. Drawing all these different disparate groups in and creating this vortex of mutual self-destruction, which would change the war that would change the world, taking on from the previous world wars that changed the world, and then at that point their global fascist society would be brought in. No doubt justified by we need a world government and we need a world army to stop this ever happening again, even though we who are saying that actually created it. And then you've got what I've been saying now way back in the 1990s. The idea is for this Third World War to involve Russia and China against the West.
Yeah. Oceania versus Eurasia, yeah.
Yeah, in the 1984 kind of scenario. And what you have now is the demonization of Russia. Have you noticed that? How suddenly we got the demonization of Russia? And what's opening up in the Ukraine, while all this is starting to go on in the Middle East, is another front against Russia. Because, you know, it's very easy to see how Russia can be pulled into this Middle Eastern conflict by supporting Syria, because destroying Syria is part of ISIS's agenda and American agenda and NATO's agenda.
And also Iran as well.
Yeah, and destroying Iran, yeah. So, and Russia would come out in support of Iran, and the same would happen with China. And so you can see how it's how the pieces in the game are being moved around to create this scenario that Pike talked about, and the idea is to basically bring everything to its knees, so that the world would have to be rebuilt in its structure and the way it operates, and that would be in the image of what they've been working towards all along. World government, world central bank, world army, world currency, centralized control of the planet. Then what you're looking at is a war, or a calculated war against Russia. Yeah. And if you start a front against Russia on its borders, and then all this stuff going on in the Middle East, you are diluting Russia's impact on what's happening in the Middle East.
Yeah. Based on reports from Reuters and Interfax, a Malaysian Airlines flight with about 295 people on board has crashed, we are told, from reports in Reuters and Interfax.
Greetings, world. We are anonymous. With the disappearance of those on Malaysian Airlines MH370, billionaire Jacob Rothschild becomes the sole owner of an important semiconductor patent. Coincidence? I think not. The mystery surrounding Malaysian airliner MH370 continues to grow with each passing day, and Mr. Rothschild is smack dab in the middle. Illuminati member Rothschild is believed to have exploited the airliner to gain full patent rights of an incredible KL03 microchip. The US technological company, Freescale Semiconductor, who shared its rights with Rothschild, had 20 senior members on board, who had just launched a new electronic warfare gadget for military radar systems the day before the plane went missing. The semiconductor company develops microprocessors, sensors, and other technology, including standalone semiconductors, that perform dedicated computing functions. But the questions that arise are, why were there so many Freescale employees traveling together? What were their jobs? Their mission? And did the employees carry valuable cargo? With all the power our elite carry, why couldn't they track down? Here is your motive for the missing Beijing plane. As all 4 Chinese members of the patent were passengers on the missing plane. Patent holders can alter the proceeds legally by passing wealth to their heirs. However, they cannot do so until the patent is approved.
This looks less like an accident than a crime. I want to repeat this. As things stand, this looks less like an accident than a crime.